What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go and I hope you like this video. So this is the oldie but goodie, you guys. This is taking me a while, but I'm getting caught up. As you can tell, you see I'm getting these videos out. I'm getting caught up. So this is RuPaul All Star 6 episode 7. Ooh, episode 7. All right, so the guest judge this week is Zaldi, who is RuPaul's dressmaker. A lot of her gowns, really most of her gowns, come from him. And we know that in last week's episode, or the week prior to this, because it won't last week's episode, Akira went home, and it looked like there was actually was that a tie this week? Or no, that was last week that it was a tie. Anyway, they go through the lipsticks, but the majority of the people voted for Akira. And so it was almost unanimous. And so of course Raja is appreciative, but she feels some kind of way because again, her and Akira are friends in real life, and it's just not a good feeling. And last time Akira sent her home, and it was what it was. This week they're doing a whole anthem, Show Up Queen. It's an anthem of, what do you stand for? They're remixing the song. They got to come up with their own verses. You know how that goes. They're dividing them up into teams. So they have two teams. Team Raja, since she was in the bottom last week, and then Team Kylie, since she won. And they have to go through the whole pick, they're going to pick out. Raja, the first person Raja picked was Jan. Bravo. Smart move. There you go. Kylie picked Ginger first. Okay. Then Raja picked Trinity again. Bravo, good pick. Kylie picked Eureka, and then Pandora was sort of last and sort of left on Raja's team. And I feel like that was the beginning of the end. I feel like in that moment, Pandora got in her head, nobody wants me, I'm last. That's how I felt. I felt like, uh-oh, here we go. Like, I felt like she immediately, it was in her head. It was stuck in her head. So they had to write their own verse for the song. And in that verse, they're supposed to talk about what it is that they stand for. What is sort of their cause or their mantra. It's supposed to be that get up in the morning, put it on, and get me ready for work kind of song, right? It's so funny. I was talking about that earlier today. One of my get up out the bed songs is Angie Stone. I wish you didn't, wish I didn't miss you anymore. Oh, that song gets me every time. I don't know what it is about that song, but I love that song. Anyway, so I feel like everybody understood the assignment except for Jan. I don't think everybody did a good job executing the assignment, but Jan was like, well, I'm just going to talk about the fact that I'm happy. Again, I feel like you are trying too hard to explain who you are. Listen, sometimes, Jan, you just have to be who you are, and either people gonna like you and understand you or they not. But when somebody says, what is your cause? What do you stand for? That ain't it. That ain't it. So they in the workroom, I'm sorry, y'all. They're in the workroom. They're writing their lyrics. Rue comes through and works with each one of them. And one of the things Rue was telling Trinity, because Trinity, hers is going to be about HIV awareness and getting tested and knowing your status. And she said, when you're doing a song like that, you don't want people to feel like you're preaching to them. So, she was like, okay, you're right. I understand. And so she was able to go in and adjust, Ginger Minge talked about body issues. Eureka talked about, or did Eureka? Oh shoot, Ginger Minge talked about body issues. Pandora tried to talk about the fact that she's so shy and withdrawn and quiet, but she sort of leaned on what she did that first week of the talent show, where she had the song with all the like weird, weird head gestures and like weird sounds. So she didn't really have a lot of lyrics. There wasn't a lot there to talk about. Raja talked about, listen, it's a new day. I'm gonna get out my head. I'm gonna get going. I'm a move. I'm gonna get moving. Kylie attempted to speak on, her evolution into the realization of being trans, and she talked about after her season, which was season 2, her going to a book signing with Rue, and Rue wrote self love, and that sort of just spoke to her about just having to be in that moment of self-love. So everybody, like I said, I feel like everybody understood the assignment. I forgot what Eureka talked about, child. But anyway, everybody sort of had that moment. Again, I feel like Jan just didn't get it. And I knew from the minute Jan was laying down her tracks, she was in trouble. Because it was just kind of like, what? What are you talking? Girl, what? Say what? Huh? It was like really like that moment where you were like, what is she talking about? So there was that, and then they did the choreography. Well, here's the thing. You got Trinity K. Bonet on your team. Your choreography is it, and Trinity she did the choreography, and Pandora was having a really hard time picking up the choreography. And Ginger kind of said, hey, y'all might want to, because Ginger and her team were on the sidelines while Raja's team was on stage going through their choreography. And she said, hey, y'all might want to make sure that, she didn't want to call Pandora by name, but she wanted to say, y'all want to make sure everybody's picking up on y'all steps. Like, y'all moving a little fast. You kind of going through the motions, and you want to make sure that everybody is getting the steps before y'all just keep moving. And I feel like Trinity kind of got in her feelings a little bit, but actually she was giving you some good advice. And you actually took her advice, even though you kind of got offended, because then you turned to Pandora and was like, tell us what you're comfortable doing. Show me when you get on the dance floor, what is it that you do? What's your signature move? How do you move around the dance floor? And from there, they sort of built around Pandora. And that I feel like they did sort of come to Pandora to say, hey, how do you feel? Are you comfortable? What is it that we need to do to make you comfortable? So she kind of helped you, even though you kind of, got stank with her for interrupting y'all's situation. Well, then when Ginger, Eureka, and Kylie got on there to do theirs, child, they was all over the place. They had a whole lot going on, and they were all over the place, and it was a hot damn mess. Everybody was trying to be a leader. Wasn't nobody trying to follow. Wasn't nobody, everybody trying to be a chief. Nobody was trying to be, well, I can't say that. That's not politically correct. But wasn't nobody trying to follow. Okay? And again, they looked a hot mess. Now, what I thought was interesting is normally when they do these types of competitions, the teams compete separately, but they were all on stage together, so they did their individual parts, and then they came together and did like a group part, and they had the group chorus and everything, and it was a decent performance. I mean, it's just like anything. You had your weeks, you had your strongs, your weaks. I think Raja did the damn thing. We know Trinity showed up. Pandora did struggle. Kylie's team, they did look like they had just made them steps up, but it came together overall. Like, if I wasn't looking for stuff and being nitpicky, I don't feel like I would have found as much. But definitely Raja and Trinity stood out. I mean, that was just, they did. In the workroom, they didn't really have a deep conversation. These workroom conversations aren't really all that interesting. Normally we get like some whole deep conversations. Jan talked about how her grandmother's always been her biggest, cheerleader, how her grandmother took her to go, how she was a big Spice Girl fan because they were talking about being in a girl group. And Ginger was like, hell, that's where my name came from Ginger Spice. And she talked about going, and she said, hell, when I got eliminated from my season of Drag Race, my grandmother wrote a letter to Rue, like, you made a big mistake, eliminating my grandson like that. What's wrong with y'all? So that was cute, but that was, I mean, Raja again, she did talk about how she's out of her funk. She jumped, she kind of got out of it, and she, processing through what she got to do. And like, listen, I'm sorry I had to send my girl home, but I'm still here, and I got to boop, 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 that kind of thing. Eureka and Kylie and Ginger were able to have a conversation and say, listen, we did great when it was time to write the music. We did pretty good when we had to lay our tracks. But baby, when we got to that choreography, we just kind of bumped heads. And so they were able to talk that out and work through that. And they cool, Again, it is what it is. So the runway is Hot Tropics. And I feel like everybody sort of did the obvious. Jan came through, and I felt like she called it her Jersey Shore, but I felt like it was just white. I wrote white woman beachwear. You know, it was like the bathing suit with the cover up that was real flowy and had the tropic, print on it. Pandora, she gave us her 50s silhouette, but it had a tropical print on it, and she had a suitcase, again, very on brand. Raja came out with a bikini, a two-piece bikini, honey, and she had the blonde dreads. It looked really cute. Body was sickening. Ginger Minge, again, I felt like she wore the same thing Jan wore. It was just a different print. It was a bathing suit with the flowy silhouette. And I found it interesting that Ginger got a worse critique than Jan did, and I felt like they had on the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. They said Ginger had too much material, but I feel like that was what it was supposed to be. Like, that was the aesthetic she was going for, was the over exaggerated flowy thing, right? Anyway, Trinity K. Bonet was probably the only one that I felt like thought out of the box. She gave us a whole carnival, Rio de Janeiro, Bahamas, Jamaica, like that whole with the headpiece and very carnival. And again, really outside of the box. When you think of hot tropics, I didn't think of it. And at first, I didn't appreciate it at first. Shouts out to my boy It's Me D, who had to break it down for me, and I was like, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, you got a point. You got a point, bruh. Eureka came out in a bathing suit with beach balls, and she was carrying a beach ball. And don't get me wrong, I know I just gave Raja props for hers, but I feel like Raja did more with it. But it was a bathing suit, Kylie, now I wrote Showgirl and Feathers. So again, I didn't get Carnival, though. It was Showgirl, but it wasn't you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't quite, I guess the feathers was supposed to be her tropical connection, I guess. I don't know. So, Trinity K. Bonet was your winner. So, she now is the leader. She has 2 wins, but she was also in the bottom once. And then our bottoms for this week are Jan and Pandora. And again, I kind of already explained why. They said Pandora didn't really give enough. She didn't really give enough oomph on it, The lip sync assassin was Alexis Mateo, honey, and they did the lip sync to Dance Again by J-Lo. Now listen, let me say this, Trinity, y'all, why Trinity wig fall off? Trinity, you've been doing this too long. You've been doing this too long. You've been doing this too long. I've heard people say sabotage. I've heard people say it was a setup because they cannot believe that Trinity, who is this season double performer, would go out there and not have her wig firmly fastened to her head, especially since she was flinging it like she thought it was. So I don't know if your bobby pins failed you, honey. I don't know what happened, but neither here nor there. Alexis won the lip sync because I think once that wig came off, Rue was like, yeah, okay. And the lipstick that came out, they made it real dramatic. It was Pandora and Jan. Why? Because it was a tie. Now remember, a couple of episodes back, we were like, well, if it's a tie, what's gonna happen? Well, I don't know. A tie ain't never happened before, has it? Well, it reverts back to the winner. So now it goes back to Trinity, and Trinity has to pull out her lipstick. And her lipstick was Jan's. So Jan was eliminated, you guys. And that is how it went down. So y'all let me know what y'all think. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.